Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Derek Ledwidge, Strive Fitness Performance, and I am here with Vicki. Vicki, how's it going?
I'm good, good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. For those of you, again, basically right now we're going into our Fit Parent Projects Facebook group, and we're just sort of the overall goal of today. We're just going to end up talking a little bit about Vicki's experience. Vicki has been training with us here at Strive since March. She's also been doing one-on-one nutrition coaching during the time, and basically she is the definition of going all in literally everything that we end up doing, but not really talking about that today. The biggest thing why I wanted to bring Vicki back on here, because we talked before, probably right before the summer, I think, almost like her halfway point into her experience right now. And the biggest thing that why I wanted to bring her back on here is she has a very unique story when it comes to the results that she ended up getting. I think you said, was it 45 pounds?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah. So 45 pounds down as of, I believe, last week, which is awesome. But the biggest story was that sort of that she started right when the shutdown happened. Her like literally her first week, and I know she'll explain the story a little bit, but her first week was literally when the gyms all closed. And so I actually didn't see Vicki's face probably until June when we actually reopened. And so we went, and she was still able to get some sort of results during that time. And so that's really why I wanted to bring her back on here, because everyone's mindset when they're trying to get results is very back and forth. They don't really know why why they can't get the results they have, why this doesn't work. And a lot of times their mindset is very, very everywhere, and Vicki could have did that, and the gym shut down, I'm going to wait until the gyms open back up. And so really want to get why her mindset was there, because most people got really, really, they didn't get results during 2020, and a lot of people threw in the towel, waited until basically right now, or they waited a little bit and then they found themselves in that spot as well. So that's really why I wanted to bring up there, because it is a very unique situation from what I've seen as a coach perspective. So I just wanted to bring her on anyway. So to get started, Vicki, just sort of talk a little bit about how we end up started, where you're at right now, and we'll sort of go through there.
Okay. Well, as Derek mentioned, last March, everything shut down for everybody. And it was a weird situation for me only because it forced me to kind of slow things down a bit. I had the typical busy mom of boys schedule, full-time worker, and just trying to kind of balance, scouts and guitar and gymnastics and swimming and, stuff for the kids, and never really took any time for me. I'm just kind of on autopilot most of the time. And when the whole shutdown hit, it was like, okay, what am I going to do now with all this time that I didn't know how to best use, I guess? And so I thought, okay, either I'm going to continue to pack on pounds and do this, or I'm going to try to take advantage and of the extra time and kind of readjust my priorities a bit and figure out what I can do now that I had this forced slowdown time. And just about then, I saw a sweepstakes entry come up for Strive and thought, what the hell, I'll try it, and see what happens here. And so Derek and I spoke on the phone, and I thought, oh yeah, there's not a chance that I'm going to get one of those spots, but okay, I'm still going to do what I'm going to do anyway. And I'm just trying to eat better and exercise a little bit more at home. And then when I was selected for one of those, I was like, uh-oh, now I have to really do this, and got nervous about it. And Derek was nothing but nice on the phone. And as he mentioned, we didn't meet in person till they had a parking lot workout, I think sometime in June. So between March and June, I just kind of continued at home, was very intimidated by the at-home workout. So kind of tried it once in a while, and then was like, yeah, no, I'm not there yet, but just kind of kept plugging along, until I was able to get there. And everybody was so incredibly nice and just very welcoming, where I walked up thinking I didn't belong there. And then that was very quickly changed, just with how everybody was just super nice. And you see more of a family atmosphere there than you do a typical gym. So Derek will push you, and he did. He pushed me to see where I was, and I was surprised at some of the things I could do and disappointed at some of the things I couldn't yet do. But he and Cam modified things, and just kind of pushed me a bit to continue and not give up. And it's just continued. Now I fell in love with it. I fell in love with everybody there, and um, enjoy actually lifting the weights and enjoy the strength training. Just feel a lot stronger. And my oldest son has gone with me just a couple of times, and he's not there. But my youngest son has really kind of embraced a strive, and they've embraced him as well. He calls Cam and Derek like some of his best friends now. And, and it's just really kind of taken off, and we still kind of have this slower schedule than normal, where I brought up during the goal planning that, of course, I'm a little bit nervous still about what's going to happen when things return back to normal. Our family's been very lucky in our household that we haven't had any COVID issues here. So for me, the kind of shutdown and the slowdown has been sort of a hidden blessing in a way. Not that I'm wishing that on anybody else, of course, but it did kind of force our household to reprioritize a bit. And so that's been my experience, and I've just kind of kept going. I've definitely had my bad days. I'm not the best at tracking consistently. I'll swear I'm going to get better every week, and then I don't. And I could tell when I do and when I don't. I don't quite catch everything. So, I do still definitely have some work to go, and it's but it's been incredible. I love it, and I love the support, and I'm enjoying the results.
So, yeah, I know we mentioned that, like, I mean, obviously you said that it was actually like somewhat of a blessing. I actually got that with my business as well, is that because you had a whole bunch of time to sort of think about how you can become that better, instead of just being like, oh, lack of a better phrase, like, woe is me. I can't, you control the things you controlled, it sounds like, which is a huge, huge thing. So the one thing that I noticed, and so a lot of people, when they join a program or join a gym, something like that, they depend on the gym. We had some people here at Strive as well. They depend, like, so if they can't go to the gym, now all of a sudden it doesn't matter. Nothing matters if they can't do that. And a lot of people with like nutrition, if they don't know how to track, or they struggle with tracking, it's, well, I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to not do it. Many people's mindsets are very black and white. If I can't do that, then why the hell am I even trying? One of those things. So you just mentioned that, obviously the at-home workouts, you really didn't do a whole lot because you were uncomfortable. It was hard to do, stuff like that. And you also mentioned that, you're not tracking all of the time. You're not paying attention to it all the time. So how, in your mind, how did that all change? Where was your mindset at when you were, what was the difference between, quote unquote, dieting or trying to lose weight during the pandemic? And what was the difference between all the other times that you tried?
Well, I've done all the typical fad stuff before, and I would lose 20 pounds, maybe at the most, and then I would gain 30, by the end of the year. And so every year I had the same New Year's resolution. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to go all in. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to blah, 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 and then when I did, it was like, okay, forget about it. I let myself down. I can't do this, because you would tell everybody, of course, because you're supposed to, market it out and put it out there in the world. So, for accountability. And I would do that. And so as soon as I'd be at a party or something would happen and I'd splurge, then everybody knew, oh, okay, yep, here she goes again, kind of a thing. And so then I would just kind of forget about it and put everything back on. And what's different here and now is that, I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but you guys are more life coaches than you are, just trainers and stuff, in the way that you let us know, that black and white thinking has to go. And it's really hard to let go of that when you've spent your whole life trying to perfect it, and not believing that there is some happy medium there. That now I know, if I have a day where I'm going to go to a birthday party, then I know now I just need to plan better, and I don't have to feel guilty about it, because guilt is that trigger, most of the time, at least for me, that now, oh great, okay, I'll start over on Monday. Oops, okay, yep, I'll start this day. And that day never comes, when you do that. And so at Strive, with just the mindset change, is that you teach us, that we're not guilty, if we have a day where we make different choices, or it's not an all or nothing thing, that it is just a day, and it is just a meal or whatever. And so it's all about the differences. It's all about making subtle changes, and just keeping on each day.
Yeah, I know we definitely had that spot. Where, I mean, obviously that, the whole, like, our check-ins constantly happen every single week, and obviously there was like that, self-negative talk, and things like, and one of the things that we always talk about as well, and I know it happened with a lot of our like in our annual goal session that we had with all of our clients, it was a lot of, these things aren't going away. The negative self-talk will always be there if it's part of you, and that's where our, owning your crap always comes up. That's always that first step that no one actually takes, because then they feel like they're negative about it. They feel like they're failures, so they stop. It's more of a, you have to own it, because that ain't going anywhere. Just like a lot of times people's, self-image, and yeah, we want to stop that. Yeah, we want to stop the emotional eating, but a lot of times you sort of just handle it better.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like it's definitely going to be there. And I know we did that during the pandemic. I think we reached the 10-pound mark, or like the 15-pound mark. And you even said, is like, this is usually where I stop. This is usually the marketing point where all of a sudden now and we plateaued there, right? We stopped there for a little bit, because you could tell that your mindset was very, well, this is where I always go, and that this is what always happens. And then I'm going to fail again. And, and then we got past that. And that was a huge thing. And then you started going crazy with your results immediately after that, once you got past that massive barrier. You agree? I see you're shaking your head. Was that a big thing? I mean, obviously I can't read your mind, but I know that was a big thing for me that we had to get past there.
No, I think you can. Read my mind. Um, that definitely was it, where it's like, okay, yep, it's gonna stop any minute now. No matter what I do, it's not gonna go there. And I did get frustrated, and then I did hit another spot. At, like, I think it was about 35 pounds or so, and you said, no, 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 we're gonna go up on calories now. You're gonna maintain. I was like, no, 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 no. I argued with you a lot. So, but then once I just shut up and listened, and now I found out I don't have to think too much. I just have to do what you tell me to.
which always helps. I mean, I have business coaches that basically their job is just to tell me to shut up and just keep on doing what they tell me to do. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'll stop second guessing you. I'll just keep on doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, no, I know. Like, one of the biggest, obviously, now once we got past that again, that stuff's never going to go away. That's the biggest takeaway from everyone like watching this, is that stuff does not go away. It'll always be there. And now you're actually starting to get a little bit more confidence in your lifts too. Now it's like you keep on wanting to do everything, even though before, I guarantee it, you definitely didn't want to do a lot of that stuff because you didn't think that you could do it. Right. And so a lot of that stuff is tagging on with that big confidence. And now we can keep on rolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah. So like anyone, like, the biggest thing with Vicki that has been the big, like the most standoffish, or the standout thing to talk about, is that, that nothing's ever perfect. You are going to fail. You are going to struggle. Obviously it helps out with having a coach, because we are terrible at, looking at ourselves objectively. So obviously that's there, but that is the go away. If you don't have a coach, if you don't have anything like that, it's very much, you have to keep on going. Right. And you have to keep on, are you moving the needle? are you doing more actions every single day to move the needle forward, or are you just sort of there, just being busy, productive? You mentioned planning as well. So, Vicki, in your opinion, we already talked a little bit about, how did you do it over the shutdown, right? What is your biggest takeaway from all this year? Because I mean, you had a really amazing year with results based, in 2020, when so many people were not. Most people gained weight. I myself did that as well initially, right? And so many people gained weight. So many people have still not gotten back on, even after, even after somewhat we opened up. A lot of times people are very, very down in the dumps. A lot of people. So what was your overall thing that changed, that you didn't really think about before, but now as you look back, you're like, man, if that didn't change, I wouldn't have got here?
The forced slowdown of having extra time. I don't know if it's just that I ran out of excuses or I just stopped making them. But it was definitely time. I wanted to set a good example for my kids, and I had time now where I could slow down and just stop being on autopilot so much, that not getting together as much, outside, not, grabbing something on the go, that kind of thing, where then, I realized there really is time for this kind of stuff, and this has to take time. Otherwise, I'm never going to get there. And so then it was, I have to do something different. I had to do something that was totally out of my comfort zone, because I was comfortable, even though I didn't like it, but I was comfortable and used to the gaining and losing, the gaining and losing. I stopped buying new clothes because I thought I don't want to buy clothes in this size anymore. And then I wouldn't buy clothes for 10 years, because I didn't want to buy clothes in that size.
Right.
And it was all that kind of stuff where things just fell into place for me, where, I'm a weirdo anyway, but but definitely, kind of weird, where it was a time where most people were like, oh my gosh, my pants aren't fitting, and it was like, wow, mine aren't either, but it's in a different direction this time, and it felt pretty good, to do that. And like I said, Strive was totally out of my comfort zone. I probably never would have walked in there on my own. So the fact that sweepstakes was there, I thought that was my all or nothing thinking, too. Like, okay, I'm going to do this. This is something different. It's a different place. It's a different face. I'm going to try it, and see what it does. But when you said, no, this isn't an all or nothing, I was like, oh, wait a minute. It didn't feel right. I was waiting for you to tell me I had to have shakes all the time and work out till I threw up or something. And, when that didn't happen, it was like, oh, okay, this is actually doable. And it became much more comfortable. And then when it was something I never did before, but I kind of liked it, it just made it easier to get up and go back every day. Very
cool. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I take away from it is you were able to become, focused, laser focused on doing the actual actions. Obviously with the pandemic, it sort of forced the issue, whereas now, and even in the future, when stuff starts, quote unquote, getting somewhat normal, now all of a sudden it turns into, you sort of have to have a different plan, because you're going to have to force the laser focus. You're going to have to do it yourself, as opposed to be like, wow, I can actually do this now. I know that's what's freaking you out as well, is how you become focused when you actually don't have time, when you have to do all the other stuff. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's going to be the things that we'll end up talking about. That'll be, obviously we already talked about it in tiresome times, as we're starting to go through that. That's something that's always constantly coming up. We've been talking about it for months, but that's what everyone usually has to do, is create that plan. And that's what they don't do. They become very busy. They're not really productive going anywhere, and so that's one of the things, how to do it now, or how to do it before. Now we have to know, now that we've built that foundation, is to go forward through there. But very, very cool. I know, we're ready to keep on rolling. I know that we definitely, stopped. Obviously, we had a couple of those hurdles to jump over when we kept on reaching some of those benchmarks. And we're still rolling through. And the biggest benchmark is going to be what happens when we actually have to do everything, have to go back to work, and everything that we've done, and still get the results that we want. So I know we're going to be talking about that, but for everyone, watching, You know, Vicki was able to do it during shutdown, even the first like couple months when there wasn't even someone there holding her hand and there was no gym or anything like that, which was the coolest thing in my mind. And that's why I always bring it up. But the biggest thing was to become laser focused. I know there's a couple people in our nutrition, for my nutrition clients, that we actually have to do that for this year because they sort of lost that action plan. So, Vicki, awesome stuff. Always good to talk to you. Yeah, can't wait to see what 2021 does.
Yeah, sounds great. I'll see you in the morning.
All right, bye bye.
Bye bye.